You're listening to the Baumbastic Podcast with Andrew Ellis on Inside Arkansas.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Baumbastic Podcast, presented by Inside Arkansas and hosted by Andrew Ellis. It is Tuesday night. It is April 22nd, and the Arkansas Razorbacks are now 35-7 after picking up a 10-0 run rule midweek win over the Little Rock Trojans in game one of what will be a two-game midweek series. The Hogs and Trojans will be back inside Baum-Walker Stadium tomorrow at 5 p.m. For one more midweek matchup before Arkansas hits the road and goes to Gainesville. Coming off of two series losses in their last two weekends for the Razorbacks, tonight was just what the doctor ordered. It was a crisp, clean, short to the point, basically a 2-hour game. Game started at 6:30. I'm recording this now at 8:38. Got right to it. The Razorbacks came out and played really solid baseball, pitched very well. You see the 0 runs evidenced by that. And of course, midweek competition, you're not facing the competition you're going to face on the weekends. But I will point out, this Little Rock team had been playing some really good baseball. They had lost on Sunday, which snapped an 8-game winning streak. They had already clinched a series. God, I'm blanking on who they were just playing. But they've won 8 straight games, which included a couple midweek victories over a UCA team that Arkansas has seen a couple times now. Over Ole Miss last week, they beat Ole Miss in Oxford 7-3. So had won 8 straight games. They're basically 500 team for the year, 500 in conference play. So I'm not trying to sell you that this Little Rock team is the greatest team in the world, that Arkansas accomplished a great feat by beating them in this midweek matchup. But I do think that was noteworthy. Also, Arkansas took this game pretty seriously. You could tell by the lineup. We'll put up the stats here in a second, but Arkansas basically went with what their starting lineup has been on the weekend, or at least one of them. You had Gabe Frazier at second base. You can maybe make an argument for Pepe or whoever at first base instead of him. But it was basically, a lot of everyday starters in there. Tate McGuire, who has been Arkansas's Tuesday starter, gets to start on the mound. But the two arms that came in after him, the only two Arkansas needed in tonight's game, Dylan Carter throws 1 inning, about 10 pitches. Carson Wiggins comes in, throws about 13 pitches. Each guy retired the side in order. Each guy looked very good. Those are two guys that Arkansas is going to have on the weekend. So I'm not saying that Arkansas necessarily had a Friday night SEC game mentality in this game, but they weren't messing around. They were not doing the whole experimental, throw these different guys in the lineup and let's just kind of see what happens. Arkansas wanted to play well. They wanted to win. They accomplished both of those feats in that game. We're going to talk all about it and sort of how it all went down. Talk a little bit more about Tate McGuire's outing, because I thought it was a very productive one, arguably maybe the best of his career. But I want to remind you guys that tonight's show is brought to you by Basis Health. Basis Health is changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits at the comfort of your home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and more. Basis Health, they are here for you when and where you need them the most. Learn more at basishealth.org today. Shout out to our guy, Dre. He's always very good to us. We appreciate him. Basis Health, from the comfort of your own home. Really love that. Now, talking about tonight's game. So pretty simple. Arkansas, you see this, the score up there, 10-0. Let's pull up that box score real quick, and we'll just buzz through it before we talk about the rundown. I want to start at the bottom with Tate McGuire. You see his line there. 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no runs, 2 walks. He walked the first 2 hitters of the game. And Tate McGuire on the year has a really good strikeout to walk ratio, somewhere in the range of 25 strikeouts, 6 walks, something along those lines. Coming into the game, issues 2 walks. You have a quick mound visit with Matt Hobbs. And of course, with the way Arkansas has been pitching lately, not what you want to see. You're kind of worried. Man, this guy always throws strikes. What's going on here? Comes back after the mound visit, gets a quick line drive right to Vahiva Aloy, and he was able to quickly double off the runner at second base. So you go from first and second, nobody out, to a runner on first and 2 outs. Ends up giving up a base hit after that, but worked around it. Got a lot of soft contact, a lot of pop-ups in this game for Tate McGuire. And the stuff kind of tells the story. Like, his stat line kind of tells the story. Not overly dominant in this game, but just kind of filled up the strike zone. Was very effective. It wasn't like the wind was blowing straight in or anything. Arkansas hit the ball around the yard pretty well, but not really many balls squared up for Tate McGuire. Did a good job keeping folks off balance. And like I said, filling up the zone, which is what we've known he can do. And again, you see the guys after him. Dylan Carter comes in, throws 9 pitches, 6 for strikes, gets the 1 strikeout on a breaking ball down in the dirt. Dylan Carter, man, I didn't talk much about his outing in depth. the other day. I mean, he came in against A&M, throws 4 innings, strikes out 4, only gives up 1 hit. Really gave Arkansas some good work on the weekend. And he just takes the ball. I mean, it seems like he's good for minimum 2 outings a week, sometimes 3 if they use him twice on the weekend. Guys become as consistent and reliable as anyone in this Arkansas pitching staff. So for a team that could use some stability, Dylan Carter is throwing the ball the best he's ever thrown in his career. I mean, the numbers tell that. If you look at the overall numbers, his ERA now firmly under 2 for the year. Throwing a ton of strikes, doesn't have, I think he's walked like 4 guys all year. Been really effective for Arkansas. It's not like he's doing anything crazy. He's just executing pitches, man. He's throwing 95, 96 miles an hour consistently. Doesn't really throw the ball over the plate. He's putting it on the inside, outside, up, down, putting that fastball wherever he wants it. And in that good, like hard slider cutter combo. Sometimes, I mean, it's like 87 miles an hour, really keeping hitters off balance with that. It's really just that 2-pitch mix, and he's just executing those pitches really well. Confidence at an all-time high. Velocity, consistency at an all-time high. Dylan Carter, man, could not be more happy for him. We felt like he was going to be better and give Arkansas a lot more than he was able to give them last year. And I think he's a much better version of the guy that was pitching for Arkansas in 2023. Very much a serious piece on this pitching staff. And Carson Wiggins might be the best he's ever looked. Really had that hard slider working. I showed a stat line there. 1 inning, strikes out all 3 hitters he faces, including a couple lefties. We talk about Carson Wiggins' fastball a lot, and of course, he has, I think it's still to this point, the hardest pitch in college baseball this year was thrown by Carson Wiggins. So, of course, his velocity is going to be something that we're going to talk about a good bit. But honestly, man, like that hard slider that he's been throwing, that's like 87, 89 miles an hour, it's a big-time pitch. I mean, he's throwing that thing as hard as some of Arkansas's pitchers throw their fastball. I mean, Parker Coyle is one of the most effective arms on the team. His fastball will be 89, 90. That's Carson Wiggins' secondary pitch, and he was throwing it down. He was executing that back foot slider against lefties consistently tonight. And, of course, small sample size. He threw whatever it was, 12, 13 pitches. But really good to see that pitch continue to evolve. And it's still mostly just a 2-pitch mix. But he's able to kind of throw the get-me-over slider. He's able to throw the hard slider that gets the swings and misses. It's starting to evolve a little bit within its own self. And so even though it is just a fastball-slider combo, seems pretty cut and dry, he's starting to show that ability to execute it different ways. When you're throwing that slider to a left-handed hitter, as a right-handed pitcher, it's kind of a dangerous game. Now, of course, when you're throwing it as hard as Carson Wiggins does, it's a little bit less dangerous, especially with some of these hitters who are not going to see stuff like this all year. But he was able to execute that back foot slider. When I say back foot slider, left-handed hitter, his back foot, which would be his left foot, you basically want the pitch to land there. He was able to execute that twice to get strikes, swings, and misses. Like, that's big-time stuff, man. If he can continue to execute that pitch and that kind of sequencing, I mean, it's really not going to be hard for him to be extremely, extremely successful. And, of course, he's off to a really good start to his college career already. We'll put back up the hitting numbers real quick. Charles Davalon, do not believe Charles Davalon got on base in this game, though he did drive in a run with a hard hit sac fly to left field. Vahiva Aloy had like a 110-mile-an-hour double. That was like kind of right. It was hit right by the third baseman, but somehow got all the way to the wall because he hit it that hard. Logan Maxwell drove in a couple runs with a bases-loaded single to right field. Did not even realize Carson Bowles came into the game until I see his name sitting here. Kahio Aloy goes 0 for 3. Michael Anderson got a pinch hit strikeout AB there in the 7th inning, or I guess it was the bottom of the 6th inning there. Brent Iredale hits his 11th home run of the year, drives in his 50th run, opposite field home run to right field, hit 102 miles an hour off the bat. Really good 2-strike swing. He's just one of those guys that really didn't even square this one up. But when you're facing a guy with as much strength and as much talent as him, doesn't take much for him to get it out. And so it's good to see him kind of get one over the fence, over the right side. Also got hit by a pitch, came around to score a run. Reese Robinette comes off the bench, plays third base, rips a base hit through the left side. He's had about 5 or 6 hits here in the last couple weeks. I think all of them have gone to the opposite field, gone to left field for Reese Robinette, a left-handed hitter. Really good to see him getting some work. I don't know if that batting average over there I see on the right at 308 is accurate, but really nice to see. Cam Kojal, I wouldn't say he necessarily smoked the cover off the baseball, but had a couple hits that found the right spots. And then I think he did hit one pretty hard. Did have a double Gabe Frazier continues to pick up some valuable experience, gets a couple of base hits, one to center field, one to right field. He looked really good in this game. They were talking about his father on the broadcast, so shout out to Joe Frazier. But Gabe Frazier really, Arkansas's freshman who's now being thrust into action, going to be a pretty much the starting second baseman, but it's going to kind of be between him and Rocco Pepe. Maybe they'll platoon him a little bit. But Gabe Frazier is going to need to play some big time innings for Arkansas down the stretch, some big time ABs, and he's getting better and better defensively. I think he's a really nice fit there over at second base. Good to see him swing the bat well in this game. Because again, this is really like his first crack at getting these consistent ABs. He wasn't getting a ton early in the year. So he's going to continue to grow and evolve, and that's going to be big time for him. Ryder Helver squared one up to the left side. Justin Thomas hit a triple. They tweeted it out and called it a Little League home run because he came around to score on the triple because the throw in went all the way to the backstop. But Justin Thomas, who's swung the bat pretty well here lately, racking up some extra base hits. Good to see him swing the bat well. We'll see what tomorrow's lineup is going to look like. I'm sure they're going to do a little bit more mixing up and matching. But before I let you guys get out of here, I do want to point out, I'm sure you guys already saw this. Before the game, Dave Van Horn, speaking on the radio, mentioned the name Hunter Dietz, a name we have not talked about on this podcast in quite some time. We've been just kind of patiently waiting to see when he would be ready to return to action for Arkansas. Dave says he was on the roster this past weekend, says he was available. He's been kind of trending in the right direction. They've been thinking about possibly throwing him in there. He says he threw the ball well to some live hitters recently and looked pretty good, looked kind of like the Hunter Dietz of old. And this is a guy that not too long ago, they were saying might be the most talented pitcher on the roster. So definitely could end up being a huge development for Arkansas. Dave said on the radio today that you would either see him today or tomorrow. So it's looking like it'll be Wednesday against Little Rock that Hunter Dietz could be making his season debut. We'll see if that's starting, if that's one inning, just fresh late in the game. Maybe they're thinking it'll be a blowout like it was today. Because maybe if they had played 9 today, maybe this would have been an ideal time to get him in there. No matter what, I'm excited to see Hunter Dietz. I think you guys should be too. Could be a big-time left-handed piece to this Arkansas bullpen, who, as you know, is kind of in need of some left-handed arms to help them on the weekends in the bullpen front, with Parker Coyle still out for the time being. Cole Gibbler still trying to come into his own. I imagine he's a guy we will see tomorrow. I imagine we will also see Colin Fisher. So going to be a big day at the park tomorrow for Arkansas's young left-handed pitchers. Should be exciting. And I just really, like I said just what the doctor ordered. That's what this game felt like for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Just want to see them continue to pitch well. You're not going to see as many of those arms tomorrow that you might see on the weekend. But it's always good. Anytime you can get back to winning, get back to playing good baseball, get that confidence back. And we'll see if Arkansas can do that tomorrow with some of their some of their younger pitchers on the roster, getting some work. And we will be back here to cover it on the Baumbastic Podcast. So I appreciate you guys for kicking it with me to here tonight and sticking around for this rapid little recap. Looking forward tomorrow to talking about, hopefully, the debut of Hunter Dietz. So that's all for tonight. We will see you tomorrow. Woo damn.